People deluded, I'm back again. Apologies for moving the mic, but I hope you're all doing well and safe. Now, I apologize for not having this out last week. What can I say? Things got on top of me. Yeah, I do the loan report. I like to see the scouting. I like to scout our players that are out on loan, not for anything other than if they do return to Arsenal, what am I going to get? I believe Saliba is a player of the future. Sorry, for Arsenal. But what am I going to get immediately in the short and medium term? And I think I've learned a lot about him. Mavropanos, Joe Willett, Maitland-Niles. Some of these guys have futures away from the club, at the club. Either way, I just like to track their progress. I want them all to do well. And I think mainly for the younger players, the under-23s, there's a lot of learning experiences. Some have had more ups and downs than others. Some have started well and then it's ended poorly. People have had injuries. Either way, I think they've all learned a lot more than they would have learned at staying at 23s level. Because what would they have learned staying at Arsenal? Barely, just about staying in the top division at under 23s level. Really and truly, yeah. The West Ham's under 23s, you had the first teamer in Yarmolenko, for example, and that's a good experience for Bowler, our fullback. But how many times a week is he playing against that? There's jobs on the line, there's promotion, relegation, all of these things, and football's real. I think academy football only takes these guys up until a point before that becomes evidently clear. And like I said, I like to see the development. So let me share my trusted old Google's doc sheet with you guys. You know me, I love it. And let's start, people. So let's start with Saliba. Now, I'm going to do a video being a bit more specific on Saliba, but I think he's going to return a more confident centre-half, a better centre-half, and ready to push. Is he going to be first choice right away? I don't think so. I think his hand will be held and he'll be blooded in slowly. I want him to kind of be thrown in at the deep end, because what I've learned about Saliba is what I've already known. Leadership, quality, he's a good defender. He can track a runner. He's a very much a cultured modern day centre half, a Rolls Royce in bringing it out from the back. One glaringly obvious error is going to be off the ball. He's a young man. He's still naive. And I think he would have learned a lot if you watched their 3-2 victory against Brents. Now, again, side note, we've been linked with Claude Maurice before when he was at Lorient. If Arsenal want to bring him in now, I don't mind that as part of the squad, because he's having a great season with Nice, with Saliba's temporary employees. And I think, I think in the 3-2 victory, he showed his leadership. He did make some vital tackles. He did show his ball playing ability. Sometimes it was a bit clumsy, as you can see here. But I think the biggest lessons is off the ball. Like I keep saying, that whole Nice team, all of you that watch my loan reports, every week I say, that whole defense is switched off. They're a young and naive defense. They're always caught flat-footed. I'm only there to watch Saliba. So being specific in relation to Saliba, he's playing against Munyen. I can't say his name, but he's been at Huddersfield. He's been at a couple English clubs. He's a physical powerhouse. He's a very experienced in the air. And I think Saliba, for many reasons, needs improvement in the air. He gets caught flat-footed a lot. The most difficult thing to do as a defender is to watch the ball and the man. Sometimes he watches the man, not the ball. Sometimes it's the ball, not the man. And I think there was elements of that. It's not just him, but once again, I'm only there to watch Saliba with respect. I like Tadibo. I don't really care what he's doing. I'm here to watch Saliba because I want to know what we're getting next season. And I think both headers he could have done a bit better. I think mainly the first one, he's caught ball watching. The man, Munyen, he's a very experienced striker. He's made a run off Saliba. Saliba's ball watching it over here. My man's checked in and then darted across him and made it in the air. And maybe if Saliba sees that a bit earlier, his midfield should read that, or someone else as well, to be fair. But if somebody else, if he reads that, he might be able to put him off. That's an area I have seen in Saliba's game. Beyond the obvious, like I said, it's not really anything to panic about, because what did we expect a 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old defender to not have? He needs to be coached out, and that's where I'm going to look at Saliba, but also Mikel Arteta. Can you coach out of his game? He's going to have teething problems in that regards. I feel he bullied Saliba at the set piece. It's a bit like Varane a couple of years ago in the World Cup against Hummels, where it was a man against a boy. No disrespect to Saliba, because again, my man is physically built. Saliba's a young man. He got done in that respect. So I do think Saliba, the little things in Saliba's play, they can be coached out his game, man. They can be. When you look at the 2-0 defeat against Leo, where Leo look like they're going to confirm the Liga title, it's a big game. It's another game where, forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Nice were down to 10 men. I could be wrong. I feel when you look at the second goal, again, not just Saliba, but he's caught, what did I say earlier? He's caught flat-footed a lot. I think he's caught flat-footed for the goal, which led to, the second going 2-0 up for Leo. So there's a lot to work on, mainly off the ball, because as a defender, you've got to be proactive. And this is why I need Arsenal to bring in a centre-half to hold my man's hand. Really, him and Gabriel are going to go through teething problems, but that will be the centre-half of the long term. And I hope we know what centre-half we're getting with Saliba. He's still certified. He's still a good player, but he's got a lot to learn in this game, and he will learn and initially struggle at times in the Premier League. But what do we expect? That's not a criticism of him. Now, moving to another centre-half, Mavropanos. Now, I think he struggled. I'm not going to sit here and cap in the game I saw against Wolfsburg. I don't know if he was subbed due to an injury or tactically, but I think he was being ran ragged. I think he was overwhelmed with the 2v1s. I think he was pulled out into situations both inside the field and outside that made him uncomfortable. I think he got pulled from pillar to post. I think he struggled really. He got subbed at halftime. They were winning 1-0 when he got subbed, people. It is what it is. Mavropanos, again, I'm keen to see what his future entails. Again, I think he deserves to be, at least Arteta deserves to showcase to Arteta what he can and can't do. I personally think he needs to go out on loan again, because I don't think he's good enough on the ball for Arsenal currently in comparison to some of the other defenders. I think that's two things Saliba and Gabriel have over him. Obviously, they're all at similar ages, and we've spent a significant outlay, what, 40 million, 50 million on two of those centre-halves. So they're going to train Gabriel and Saliba at a cost to Mavropanos. He's having a good loan spell. He's staying fit, you know. But yeah, I'm keen to see what happens in his future. But in his 45 minutes of the game, I think he struggled. In the highlights of what I've seen for Oli Inca against Newport, again, he looked underwhelming. But I can't verify that in the 83 minutes he did play. Joe Willock, again, 77 minutes, and he grabbed a goal against Leicester. We know what Joe Willock brings to the party. You know, energetic display, pressing. You know, that goal comes as a result of pressing. And as we know, when the game's opened up and it's high demanding, that's where Joe Willock comes into his element. I haven't really, some of the, I know, again, it hasn't really, not that it's to prove me wrong, but I haven't learned enough about Joe Willock. I do think, like I said, I like him. I think we should have him in the squad next year. He's got that box to box and goals in him. Whether he gets goals at Arsenal or not's a different case, but he's got goals. He's a midfielder we haven't got, and I think that tells you why we're at where we're at. But I like him. I think all options should be open on the table, whether he's staying, going on what. It's a decision for him to make. But it was another goal, another energetic display from him. He carried the ball well. He was crucial to his team in the 77 minutes he got. What I mean by I haven't learned anything is I know Joe can do that. When the game's open, when, you know, people are chasing it, that's Joe. Newcastle not going to play like that. But I haven't seen any real quality on the ball, off the ball, apart from the movement. I haven't really seen how can you break down the low block. I haven't really learned too much about Joe. And, you know, it might not just be him. We might just be able to use him for games that are open like this. But how often in the season are they like that? He's having a great loan spell. He's top 3 loanies, in my opinion, maybe even top 1, you know, and I want to keep him. But if selling him means bringing in someone, why not? And he's having a great loan spell. You know, Joe Willock and Maitland-Niles, many people, including myself, would have loved to have seen Maitland given some of the midfield chances afforded to Joe. But, you know, sometimes you have to hold your hands up. Based on what I'm seeing between the two players on loan, I can see why, if that's to go off anything, why Joe is getting opportunities in midfield. So Joe Willock is getting confidence. He's getting football. Again, it's a tough decision, because as much as I want him to come back, are you going to be a first teamer in that they see you as a member of starting with Partey? If they give you legit chances, why not? But when you're playing week in, week out or close to, it's hard to go back to playing occasionally for Arsenal. So big decisions to make in the summer. Moving to Maitland-Niles, and it's, you know, I feel like I'm a broken record in that on occasion, he's played out of his skin, but I'm not learning too much about Maitland-Niles on loan. You know, he grew into the game in the second half, but as you have seen and you've heard me say, he was missing in the first. You know, he offers very little going forward. And again, I'm not saying he needs to get goals and assists. Well, that wouldn't help. That would help. I don't think he offers enough to drive his team forward to try and score goals. He's got to find, he can pass the ball, he can drive. I don't think he does enough of that. He does do the dirty work well. He does bring energy into the midfield. You know, he definitely fits in, but he doesn't stand out in a sense of if I wasn't watching these games to know Joe Willock is, I mean, to look for Maitland-Niles, I wouldn't know anything really. And I've just seen solid 5, 6 at a push out of 10, where that's cool. You want to be a midfielder, cool. You've shown people, you link with a couple moves, but I can see why, if this is anything to go off, you don't get opportunities, in my opinion. And, you know, against Wolves in his 1-1 draw, he brought energy. You know, he was missing. He did the dirty work, offered little going forward, but I'm struggling to see what else you're bringing than just running around in midfield and putting in tackles and that. And to be fair, that's a given as a midfielder. Like, getting about, that's something we used to get onto Joe Willock about, getting about. I don't, you know, when I hear a midfielder works hard, bro, you should work hard. You know, every footballer should work hard, but that's one of the positions that's central to the modern game, and you have to run around a lot. So I don't want to praise midfielders for running around and doing dirty work. That's a given, you know. But who knows what's going to happen with him now? Keeping up with it, Guendouzi's now out for the rest of the season. As you lot know, people, he was injured in the first 30 odd minutes against Freiburg, and that's his season done. And, you know, obviously he'll probably be moved on. Haven't learned too much about him in his loan spell either, people, in the sense of he's played well, but we've known he's got attitude problems. We've seen elements of that. We know he's a leader. There's elements of that. You know, he's got a couple of assists and a goal to match, I believe. He's had some good games. He's been a leader, you know. Again, defensively, a lot of improvements to be made. He puts in work, but he doesn't. I haven't seen enough of an improvement from his time at Hertha Berlin in that regard. He had a lot of, you know, he's injured, and it's a sad thing. And obviously, the one good thing I'd say for him is that this is probably the best time for him to be injured, in that he's just, you know, become a father officially. His girlfriend or whatever has announced, you know, well, you've seen the pictures. He's got his daughter, and I think, you know, when your season is sucked away from you like that, obviously you're going to be upset, but it gives you time with your daughter. Obviously, it puts things into perspective because, yeah, you're injured, but, you know, you're a family man now, so it shows you what's important and what isn't. Obviously, you're hoping for a bit of maturity from Guendouzi, so there's that. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens in his future. In relation to the 1-0 draw against Mainz, he did well in the 90 minutes. I think we had a lot of defending. Well, I say we, Guendouzi being we, my channel 3 we. We had a lot of defending to do in the opening periods, but his passing was decent. He does, as much as I say he hasn't really improved defensively, he does get back and try and put in a shift. Off topic, there was a lovely goal from the Mainz lad, people. That was a 20-yard, maybe even 25-yard screamer. I have to mention that. But yeah, man, this season's to an end, and you know, I won't say I don't think there's going to be, beyond people that are interested because he's a good player, I don't think there's going to be a hell of people queuing up to buy him. Probably Joe Willock out the names I've said so far. Now, it's no secret I'm a big fan of Tyrese John-Jules, and the only negative I can say on his loan spell is that he's been robbed of a lot of football because of injuries. And I would say, you know, it hasn't been enjoyable watching him at Doncaster, because I feel when you send him to these sort of clubs, his height goes against him, you know, in the sense of they're just trying to get out of the league. You know, when Darren Moore was there, it looked a bit better, but they're just trying to get out of the league. We all know the nature of the game. It's all about first and second balls. When you've got someone that's 6 foot plus, that's all they're going to see. They're not going to see the fact of, you know, his height and all those things are down to his genetics in his family, which, okay, he can't control, but there's more about him. I've said it before. I think he's got the perfect blend of the modern striker. He's physical. He can do all of that, but he's an Arsenal footballer, and he's a baller himself. He can play football. And I don't think, definitely at Lincoln, and definitely since he's got a new manager at Doncaster, I feel frustrated for him because he hasn't got to show that, yeah, I can do the hold up and the knockdown thing, but my bread and butter, that's just a bonus. My bread and butter is the technical ability, and I feel that's a sheg for him, because some people that are like him, that's all they'll rely on. He's got it, you know. If he stays fit, I think he's got every chance of having an Arsenal future. I really like the lad. This, like, you know, and how can you not like him? You know, you don't have a double barrel last name if you're not a gunman in front of goal. That's a double barrel shotty. You know, it is what it is. He's had a torrid time with injuries. It's nice to see the man's back fit. Obviously, his loan spell is now put to an end. Doncaster lost 4-1 against Peterborough. Again, the style of football in the league isn't suited to him. I'd even love him to go to a Swansea if he can't get a top league loan, because just someone that wants to play football. I'm not saying he doesn't have to tailor his football to what people want to do, but, you know, sometimes it's been like watching rugby and stuff. Like, I've been watching Doncaster, and he's just having to knock it on, flick it on, bring people in. It's like the ball is never on the floor. It's up here. It's like, if Tyrese wasn't playing, then I don't think I'd be watching that game of football. Them games there test your love of football. I can't lie. But anyways, he signed off, he signed off in style with a goal. You know, he made a good run off the last shoulder of the defender on the left-hand channel, and he's tucked it in with his right foot. You know, it's a classic Henry sort of finish. It is what it is. You know, in the 2-0, that was in the 4-1 defeat against Peterborough. So clearly Doncaster got slaughtered. He got an hour or so against Blackpool, if I'm to be mistaken. Again, he didn't have any service, but it was a quiet day from everybody involved, himself included. Against Rochdale, people, I think he linked up very well. He played a significant part, and he got an assist, and it was a lovely weight of pass to play through his man as well. And like I said, he made some good passes throughout his time on the field in the game. And this is why I get frustrated, because if he was just a brute, cool, you know me, play to his strengths then. You know, if he's just a physical brute, that's a brute, do that, innit? Knock-ons, that's him, innit? But he can do the other thing as well. And I guess that's down for Arsenal. Send the man somewhere where they can play to his strengths. Not just him, a couple of man still, you know, because there's been some positive loan spells. Hasn't been negative, but there's also away from Tyrese now. There's also been loan spells where I'm like, boy, like we couldn't have nipped this one in the bud. Now, Daniel Ballard is having a great year. You know, him and Blackpool are, you know, he played against his former, you know, against his teammate Tyrese. But oh, in fact, did he get arrested? I can't even remember. No, he didn't. I'm thinking about the last game where something happened in the reverse fixture of this. Apologies, but Daniel's having a good loan spell again. I think he'll have permanent offers and a serious decision to make in the summer. You know, does he stay at Blackpool again, assuming they get out of the playoffs and they make the championship? That could be, because I said it before. I think there's some championship clubs, other League One clubs, they're gonna make offers for him. You know, and I think it's truthfully, I think he should move on. I don't think his chance is going to come at Arsenal. I hope it does, but I don't think it's going to come. You know, you've got Mavropanos, Gabriel, Saliba, all in front of you, and they're all of the similar ages. You've got people you're fighting around. No shame in that. I think he can leave with his head held high. I think he deserves to be at a club where he's going to be there for years, rather than 1 year at this club on loan, that club, this club. I really like Daniel as a defender. He played, you know, as you lot can see, you know, the 3 games that I've seen, he's done what he's needed to do. Against Sunderland, his heading was a bit hit and miss, but a good showing. 3-0 win against Northampton. Again, another convincing display. And also the same with Doncaster. Throughout the games, he's shown his heading ability, his leadership qualities. He's done what he's needed to do. Mark McGuinness been a bit up and down for me at Ipswich. Has shown his quality, he's shown his confidence on the ball. You know, he's shown him he's very confident on the ball, bringing it out and stuff like that. He's very cultured, but it's also shown why I think people like this need to go out on loan. You're not going to learn at 23's level, because sometimes his timing of his tackles have been poor. He's been rash. His positioning has been off. This ain't a criticism. This is just a fact. This is stuff you're going to learn. You know, he's at the apprenticeship stage, and I think he can leave with his head held high at Ipswich, but I don't think the way you played a first team chances on the horizon. I feel against Fleetwood, he was beaten for pace and 1v1s too many times. And for one of the goals, he was absolutely skinned. I think he was incredibly rash with the timing of his tackles. I think in the 0-0 draw against Shrewsbury, he showed why he's a good defender. He's calm on the ball with his decision-making, brought it out well. He had the forwards in his pockets when they did try and trouble him. So it was good from him. For Harry Clark, you know, obviously he's had a good loan spell at Oldham. Against Harrogate, good driving runs forward and stuff like that. I think I've spoken about that again. But again, against Thingy, I think I spoke about that in the last. That's notes from my last game, people, because that's the notes from my last loan report. Apologies, but I did think in what I saw against Forest Green, you know, it was terrible, people. You know, the whole team was terrible. Nothing went right, out of position, and hooked after 75 minutes. So yeah, I think he's had a good loan spell, but again, entitled to a bad one from time to time. Ben Schafe, again, he signed off at Coventry. Now it's the end of his loan spell. Apparently there's a permanent option. I don't think they'll make it. Again, he's had injuries, he's lost his place. Initially it started very well. He has had quite good games. You know, I remember the defeat against Norwich, he put in the shift, but I don't think they're going to make him permanent. I don't think he's going to get an opportunity at Arsenal, and I think a tough decision is going to have to be made by him on his future. He got 24 minutes though in their 6-1 victory against Millwall, and it was not, I guess, a better way to sign off. So in relation to the loan report, these are the players I've been able to cover. Obviously, in a couple of days to a week, or maybe a week from now, I'm going to do individual videos on a couple of these players on how they've went out on loan. But yeah, the key is, people, these guys are not to return the finished article. They're not got Saliba and them man there. They're not going to leave 1 year and come back the best centre half in the league. That isn't going to happen. What we need is building blocks. You know, he's got some experience. He's got some game time. Can we coach these out of him? For some other players like Guendouzi and things, obviously the loans to put them in the shop window. You know, I think Joe Willock's the only one. Joe Willock and Ballard, I'd say, are 2 players I think are firmly in the shop window just based on how they're playing. There's a couple others as well. But yeah, man, that's just what I believe in relation to the loan report and things like that, people. Again, I've been so excited. I haven't put on the banner. So yeah, that's that in that regards, people. I'm going to leave you with a message from my sponsor. So yeah, people, thank you for watching. Information in relation to the advertisement, apologies, you've just seen is in my description. Make sure you hit that up. On that note, thank you for listening to my 20 odd minutes of my loan report. I'm out.